So last episode you saw we finished up the door. We repaired all the rust in the door structure itself and finalized all the patches.
Yeah, some of the tips on hammer forming, that was awesome, the way you made those shapes.
Good.
I can't wait to see how the door skins are fabricated. Like to match up those body lines and those little details.
So the steel, it's just an easy way to get an accurate profile or template that's repeatable. I can sit down around for weeks on the end. What it did was I got the center reveal of the door and then down at the lower edge there. That gave me those 2 points and then wrapping up to where we're meeting the new skin. So now I'll use that when I go ahead to make the new one. We already have all the tools. I'm not buying anything new.
Promise.
Yeah, right now I promise. We're going to be using a lot of the same techniques that we've been doing along here with the metal forming.
By the time these door skins are fabbed, we should be ahead of the body shop quote and prove that it does pay off to invest in yourself.
Yeah.
Well, let's get started.
I marked the top of the body line just as I've done before with the tape and the Sharpie. Bead rolled the center reveal, then added contour with the English wheel before cutting down to size. Okay, so we got the panel and the skin here out of the English wheel, and we got the contour into it that we want. What we're going to do now is go ahead over to the bead roller. We're going to go back to our step bead dies here. This is what we used. You've seen those a little bit on the floor pans that we did. So I have them set up. I used a test piece to get the depth and the width of our offset that we want. What I did, here's a little tip. I went ahead, had an extra 4.5 foot piece here, and just rolled 2 steps in here, top and bottom. What this is going to be for is, this is the same setup that we're going to roll through the door. So I know that these are going to be exactly the same. Any of these areas can be cut out if I need a little piece for the lower rear of the fender, or maybe front, forward of the wheel for the quarter panel. I'll be able to have these things that'll be exactly what the door is. So let's go ahead, get set up, and roll this on through. I laid out the offsets, utilized the bead roller to roll them, and then hung the door on the vehicle to check alignment between my top, lower edge, and center reveal against the quarter panel and fender. With the door protected with rust encapsulator, I'm installing internal window components, lubing the regulator and track, as this may be the last time I'm in here for a while. With the offsets rolled and the panel shaped with the English wheel, I now set it back onto the door frame to scribe the edges and cut it down to size. I marked the lines, trimmed using the electric shears, cutting the corner away on the skin, so when you fold, tip the edge, it won't overlap. Here I'm using the bead roller with the tipping dies. The goal is to form a 90-degree edge. But remember, take your time. Don't try and do it all in one pass. Do 3 or 4 passes to get a nice crisp edge.
So as Mark's well aware, and most of you out there by now are, is that I am one of the
best.
cranker handle operation, but You know, I'm not there for everyone, and maybe you don't have a friend who has the skills that I possess. And because of that, Mark has developed a drive motor that attaches to our hand crank unit.
Any of our bead rollers. It'll work with the 27-inch down to the new 8-inch. Works with competitors and other brands also. We'll bolt right up to them. This is something that if you're going to be doing a lot of bead rolling, or if you're going to be doing it, you don't have access to a friend right there that night that you're doing anything, this does solve that problem. It's not as nice as a Randy. Doesn't talk back like a Randy, which is, that's, you know, another one. Good selling point also.
All right, let's get back. Let's get back to the action here.
All right, let's
enough about me.
Take your time, use multiple passes, and you will achieve the result you're after. The goal here is to get an edge that is over 90 degrees. I'm using the hammer and dolly to straighten the edge of the panel, while also making relief cuts, allowing the skin to fold over the frame more accurately. Using the shrinker here to tweak the panel just a little to get the form I need to fit the door frame. I'm using a block of wood to back up my 3/16 drill bit here while I'm drilling the plug holes. I'm also cutting V-notches between the holes to make small tabs which are easily formed over the door frame. Now we're into the home stretch. I rough cut the door handle area on the new skin in preparation for final fitment onto the door frame. As always, use your marker and scribe technique to accurately trim and mate your existing frame with the new skin. I begin using the Perfect Panel Prep tool on both the edges of the existing skin and the new one. You can see here in the close-up how the jaws are designed to form a perfect 45-degree bend in the panel, about 1/16 of an inch long. This will create the perfect valley for your weld bead to lay in. We're getting closer here, and I'm using the marker to identify areas where I just need to fine-tune the panel fitment just a little here with the grinder. At this point of the process, don't get lazy. You'll be amazed at how even the slightest trimming will improve your overall panel fitment. So we've taken the time to get perfect panel fitment. What you may find out is while assembling, the panels may overlap. A trick here is to use a flexible steel rule to help with panel alignment. Locking the new skid in place using our stitch weld magnets, it's time to start tacking it in using the MiG 175. Using my hammer to keep the panels flush as I add more tack, I'll even use a razor blade to help with panel alignment. See how the weld beads sit below the surface of the panel? That's the perfect panel prep tool at work. Using the hammer and dolly again, I'll begin sealing the skin to the frame. Once far enough, I'll switch to the door skinning tool to finish the job. The final step of the process is welding the skin in place. To avoid putting too much heat in the panel, I'll use stitch welds to create a solid weld bead. Follow this with the angle grinder to blend. If you ask me, I think it looks pretty good.
So we finished the door, it looks great. We moved on to the second door where we ran into a lot of the same rust issues as the first one.
But it took us about half the time. You know how when you're working on something, you do the second one, it always goes a lot quicker.
Yeah, and that door turned out great too. But the big thing is that we actually beat the body shop quote. So we're only 2 projects into this, the floor pan and the doors. The body shop quote's up here. We're down here $450 less. We could have paid the body shop and we wouldn't have any tools to show for it. Now we've got all that knowledge. We've got a garage full of tools. We save $450. We probably have almost every tool we need to restore the rest of the car. So when we start doing the fenders, the trunk floor, the quarter panels, by the time we're done this, we're gonna save thousands or tens of thousands of dollars. And if you go and get another car,
It's all free.
it's all free. So I think we ought to start working on the Camaro. You know, a little change of pace, throw some AMD sheet metal on it, see what we got going
100%
there.
agree. I mean, I already took care of the Corvair. It's out back.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it gonna be okay outside?
It's gonna be fine.
All right, so let's go find Cody, talk game plan on the Camaro.
I'm up for it.
All right, you got the napkins?
Yeah.
We gotta go find them.